All right, welcome back, everybody. This is Lowell Tourneys. This is our March 19th Silver 5v5s tournament. We're entering the semifinals now, and once again joining you, I'm Pyrotechnix.
And I'm Rainbow Sasha.
Ever so lovely and talented. And we'll be casting you this next game between the winner of the game you saw last, Team White, and Korean Hunters. So both teams, no strangers to our Lowell Tourneys format. They'll be getting right into the picks and bans, and Korean Hunters are wasting no time. They took out the MVP of last game. They say no blitzcrank for you.
And having watched that last game, I can completely agree with that. I saw a lot of work coming down from that bot lane, and he was just devastating. So it's good to see weird bans come out because it's better to see targeted instead of basic.
Yeah, I like that our competitors are actually really taking the time to watch and research the competition and making sure that they can not allow their opponents to get any advantage. And that's what prevents those really snowbally games, is making sure that you even out the playing field a little bit. You know, the bans, they're still targeted. Kale's also banned out. You know, she was a force to be reckoned with. Maybe not the scariest, and you know, maybe I would ban Kha'Zix instead. But Korean Hunters, they know what they're doing. They also are going to get rid of Renekton, and the other side, they go for Evelynn and Thresh. So those seem a little bit more generic.
Those are pretty generic. Evelynn's been, I guess, the flavor of the month pick recently for that jungle, and because of the Season 4 changes for Vision, she's just overall an excellent, jungler, because she can come in with the stealth, has an amazing ultimate from level 6 to get that slowdown, and the hate spike now does physical damage, so she's able to do different unique things with her builds now, so she can go tank AD with a little bit of AP in there just to hint and just devastates when she comes to go for those ganks. So it's good to see that banned out.
Yeah, they got rid of Wukong too, and arguably that's probably the scariest jungler in the game right now. But the second scariest jungler gets picked up. Raidu goes for the first lock Vi. They left that open, and this could be a big problem for, well, let me make sure that for Korean Hunters, for Team White, excuse me. Team White actually locking up. No, I'm sorry, I got them both backwards. Korean Hunters are on the left, Team White's on the right. So Team White picks up Vi, and they're hovering over Alistar, but they decide to actually lock in Ezreal as the AD carry. On the other side, they got Caitlyn, though. Oh, these are both really good pickups. They're hovering around for Kha'Zix or Pantheon, so the junglers have been a really popular pickup early in these games. And I can't say that I blame them. Both teams seem to rely really heavily on their jungle presence to get an early advantage. We will also see Captain Lord locking that Leona, so the picks go right on over. Back again to Team White. And they'll be looking to take a support this time. They're hovering over Janna. Now, Janna, I think, is a very underutilized support right now. Nope, they're going to go over to Annie. Are they locking it? Yeah, they do. So Annie's popular too. Sorry,
yeah, she's popular just as well, but a few things to be mentioned here is they picked up Leona, and recently Leona and Vi have both had some kind of nerfs to them. Just kind of nerfs for Vi for early game. She now does less damage, I believe, with the Vault Breaker, and Assault and Battery now for the ultimate. Now pushes people
you know how
not
I
as
said
far
Annie
as
was
before.
Be
it's a 250 range instead of the 350 range.
I don't think that's going to be the case anymore. They also locked in Soraka, so we could be seeing an Annie mid for the first time in a while. That's where she's originally doing it, but you know, an Annie mid could be a really, really good pickup here, depending on what comp they end up going with. She's a very good bursty caster. We've seen her played like that as a support anyways, unless they do something crazy like a mid lane Raka, or even an ADC Raka and a mid lane Ezreal.
That's just crazy.
It could happen.
But stuff that could happen. It could happen. But you know what? I want to be surprised if there was a Soraka mid, because it allows her to. She has just a good amount of poke. She can deny with the silence, and has the ability to just constantly heal herself. And she's going to be able to get an earlier 6 compared to her being in the bot lane. So she's able to assist the team early on compared to being trapped in that bot lane. And she can just silent ganks as well, silence while being ganked. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a mid Raka coming down, but I think it is going to be that Annie. But I'm liking this Malzahar pickup.
Yeah, I'm Tayek locks that, and that's almost certainly going to be the mid lane because Leona is going to be the support. I think that that's a pretty good answer to either Annie or Soraka, because he's a really good catch and deal a ton of damage. Once he's got his ult up, the suppression, you can't do a thing, and they have a very mobile jungler in Pantheon. Also, I'm a Boss locks in Yasuo, and this is a really scary pick comp forming up for the Korean hunters.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's gonna be that top lane Yasuo, obviously coming down. But what that is gonna do is it's gonna make. See, now I'm really confused because they're
Because they got
possibly
Zed
locking in
too.
Zed.
No,
Yeah,
they do. They lock it in. So if this is top lane Zed versus Yasuo, that is going to be an absolute slugfest between those two assassins. I'm
and
really
that's
excited to see this. There is not a lot of tank in this matchup. This is full on assassin engage hard on both teams. Vi is the biggest player on either of these teams, closely followed by Leona.
Yeah, I am gonna have to. This is just I see now because of the Zedlock, and I really want to focus on that top lane. It's not something we normally focus on because that's usually the island lane where people go to just have a fun time farming constantly left and right, and nothing other than that comes of it. Occasionally, a gank will happen and a kill will be picked up, but this is going to be very interesting because it's going to be all about that position coming up because of Yasuo with the wind wall as well as the jukes and the positioning able to happen because of Zed and his clones. I want to see how well he's going to take this matchup.
Yeah, I think that that's going to be really the highlight of the game. They're both going to be really, really scary in their own right. And if a jungler decides to make a little bit of presence up there, that's going to be enough to tip the scales one way or the other. If they surprisingly sit back and passively farm, this game could get really drawn out. But I have a suspicion there's going to be a lot of engagements all over the map. Uh, I think we will likely see Soraka in the bot lane and Annie in the mid, but they could pull a switcheroo on that if they feel like it. Soraka, it's an off-meta thing, but it's been possible to run her as an AP mid. Be a very scary one, too. But I think it was a good pickup by I'm Tayek to grab that Malzahar anyways, because he's a good answer to both.
Yeah, that is. Oh, I'm really stoked for these, and I believe we are now in the delay. Still just a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But
Let's run down
I
each lane. What do you think? We talked a little about the top lane, but let's do mid and bot because we haven't really done too much about that. And we have the summoners now, and I'm almost certain Annie's going to go mid. Who do you think wins that lane? I wanted to go with Malzahar, but have any other thoughts?
Malzahar has really good farm earlier, despite Annie having a good auto attack range that she's able to offer as an AP, which is something pretty unique to her kit, just being able to constantly keep poking. But we have the I forget what it's called, the Maleficent Visions, I believe it's called. Gonna be dropped. It's gonna be farming minions left or right while returning mana to him. So he might have the better outcome in the lane if he is gonna be using that to his advantage to go for the push, go for the back off, and then keep coming in. Possibly having Pantheon come over with the ganks, get the stun down, suppress, and pick up Annie.
It's I had to actually look up the abilities, but it's Malefic Visions.
Yeah.
And when you said Maleficent, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go see a Disney movie now. That it should be called that actually. I think that would be really cool, but they'd probably get sued.
Probably.
Yeah. Bot lane. I like Caitlyn better than Ezreal in this situation.
I I can agree with that. Caitlyn just overall has the best range of AD carries and is able to poke amazingly as well as getting the traps out. So we have to watch to see if Ezreal possibly goes for an accidental blink to a trap, which could just spell first blood in any language. And from there on out, Kate, if she does get that early farm advantage on her side, she's going to constantly keep poking, going for that bloodthirster, and just ripping through people left and right, possibly picking up the PD or static, and then from then on out, she's just a backline for team fights, and she's just going to keep poking. The ace in the hole is going to be able to help so much in fights, picking people off. I like Kate better than Ezreal overall because of those reasons, because she's able to zone, has good poke, and has the caliber net to just get away.
Yeah, I think she certainly fits into this comp really well, and with Leona in the bot lane too, that's going to be a lot of hard engage potentials that they'll have while still being able to kite. Caitlyn, of course, the built-in escape with the 90 caliber net. Leo is just a monstrous tank in the early game stages and can just eat all of the damage and won't have to worry about it. Ezreal is going to have a little bit of a rough time farming if he gets up too close, but if he can cut away, that could be a very different game.
Yeah, that's gonna be a make it or break it for that. I want to see what these junglers are gonna be doing mainly because Pantheon with the man drop coming down is a devastating gank to happen for any of the lanes, top, mid, or bot, and it helps so much just as well because it does the damage. And he comes in and just leaps on you, gets the stun down, and you're basically dead. But from then on out, but Vi able to do similarly the same thing, but in team fights and just occasionally in a few 2v1 pickups, she comes in, gets some denting blows off, comes in with a Volt Breaker, and then comes in with the Assault and Battery to finish you off, taking you down. So I want to see these jungles kind of go head to head because that's
Yeah.
that's what they need to do. They
You
need
know,
to make these lanes happen.
that's an interesting juxtaposition, though, because while Kingsley on Pantheon has a really strong early game ganking presence, I think that Vi is going to have a lot of a harder time to get those early game ganks because Vi's early game, she doesn't have the Salt and Battery. Yeah, Pantheon doesn't have the man drop, but he's got the mobility to back it up. Whereas Vi really needs that 6 to be super effective in lane, and I think that's going to be the early game aggression for the Korean hunters. Whereas I would expect Team White to kind of sit back and play passive until they get Vi up to 6. Another interesting point. Explanations was the jungler last game, and he's actually running Ezreal this time as an AD carry, and Egg Yolk was the top laner and is now running jungle. So it really shows you the versatility of these players on Team White, that they can mix it up and try different things, and well, we'll see how it works out for them. I still don't even know who's going to be the support in this game.
Yeah, I'm
I
really anxious to know because
I,
no
I,
one's
I
really
think it's
showing where they're
Soraka.
going.
I think it's Soraka. No, she's going mid. Soraka's going mid. Is it happening?
But so is Annie. They might just be baiting us
They're
all out.
dual mid. I don't know.
It said
Something is
mid.
happening, and I don't
It
know
said
what it
mid with
is.
Soraka top.
Whatever. Just put the AD carry top lane. I don't even care anymore.
Ooh, but we do have a little bit of a